Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurial Audacity. Today, I am here with my lovely guest, Ash, and we are going to be diving into all things audacious mindsets as per the name. Ash, I'm going to hand over to you. Give us a little bit of an introduction on who you are, what your business is in.
Cool. Yes, hi, I'm Ash. I'm the founder of MLHQ. We support small and medium-sized businesses with hiring, HR admin, culture, leadership support, all those fun things. I also have a second business. I co-founded Secret Women's CoLab, which is in-person events for working women, primarily women in business, in my local area, which is south of Perth, which is really for those that don't want to do it alone anymore, which is where a lot of the conversations around this topic sort of come from. But honestly, the reason I do any of this, instead of getting a real job, trying to do everything myself, running a business, raising kids while solo half the time, saying yes to everything, looking at Instagram and wondering why in the hell does my life not look as successful and carefree as what you see others on Insta looking at. And, from time to time, burning out while telling everyone else not to. It's all about now helping women in business to stop being the bottleneck in their own business and actually lead it while still learning the lessons ourselves as we go through. A little about me.
I really like that, Ash. Thank you. And I want to dive more into the comment you just made about us being the bottleneck of our business. I think that would be a great starting point. So
Great.
Explain a little bit more about that and what some of the things that you've experienced on your journey, because you've got an incredible journey standing up those two businesses. And I love the movement that you're doing with helping other women in business because, yeah, we need to collaborate and get everyone on board. So
That's right, yeah. And funnily enough, I actually hate the term bottleneck. It's one of those things that's become such a buzzword that I actually hate saying it, but I just have not found another way that describes what it is without saying it. And, I can sort of talk about it more because I've been there myself. So we do hiring support, for example, and I found that I was the reason that processes were getting held up. I was literally the bottleneck. So I had to change the way I did my business to get out of my way and my client's way. But often as women in business, we build this thing from the ground up, which is amazing. I love it when people just get in there and start and we wing it as we go. But at some point then we get in the way. We're the reason that, a social media post doesn't go out, or we miss out on an opportunity because we didn't get time to respond to something. And we are constantly trying to do everything ourselves. But in doing so, we're stopping doing everything because we don't have time to be all the things to all the people at all the same time. So we're in our own way. And that's really what we talk about in being the bottleneck, is how we can get out of our own way, reduce some of our own admin load so that we can do the things that were the reason why we started our business to start with.
awesome. I like that. And with, being the bottleneck, internally, what was going on for you when you were going through that period? Like, how did you navigate the beliefs and the thoughts that would have been coming up? Because I'm sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, of course, throughout that process, you would have been, initially, we don't want to hit, we're not the bottleneck. No way. We're the founders. We've started this big thing. Like, I'm not in the way, like something else is wrong. So how did you actually face that fact? And, did you have any, mindset things that you needed to really dive into and work through to get out of that and move yourself from the bottleneck?
So one of the things about me is that I am known to be very stubborn. Yeah, things you just said totally relate because no, I'm not the bottleneck. There's something wrong with the process. It's not me. Before, it happened a couple of times we do a lot of phone interviews, phone pre-screening calls, and it would be where I'd have to put them off to the next day, which doesn't work in recruitment. Recruitment moves fast and you have to respond fast. But after a while of it having to be put off to the next day because I was needed elsewhere, then I was like, okay, this is a problem. But then also what comes up then is an element of ladyballs in having to go, okay, well, now I need to bring people in to my business, this thing that I built from the ground up. How can I trust that they're doing things the way that I would do things? And can they identify the things that I could? And the confidence to say, okay, we are ready to have team members come on board. It doesn't have to just be me. So in identifying that I was the problem and then actually taking action to change it, there was still quite a journey to go through there to then actually bringing on someone to join the team and finding that right person and having the confidence to find someone that is suitable for the role, not just anyone, because that's all that we deserve, you know, and having to go through this whole other imposter syndrome and confidence process, I guess. And in talking to other people, it's still very similar in what others go through as well. It's not groundbreaking stuff, but we still put ourselves through this turmoil time and time again in working through that mindset, I guess.
Yeah, it's a big thing. It's a big thing, you know. We like to deflect as human beings. We like to deflect, you know, we've got bias that we're great and we're perfect. And then, when it's like, actually, I need to step aside and I need to let my team have part in this. And, you know, what was it like when you were giving the reins away? Because essentially that's what you were doing, right? And like, how did that feel? Did you feel like all their moments where you wanted to just grasp onto things tighter through that period?
Absolutely, yes. And because what I was asking them to do was like client facing stuff without me there. So there was no way for me to, you know, check what they were doing or what the conversation was actually looking like, which, you know, in retrospect is probably a good thing because it meant that I couldn't micromanage. I did have to just force my way through and push those doubts aside. But there were absolutely times where I would go, oh, maybe I'll just do this one and you can do the next one, or, you know, and then I was finding myself, well, I'm not making the process smooth here. I'm the one that's messing up the process and making it harder and making more work for everyone. And it's confronting to realize that. And then again, actually take the steps to get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, have any of your team ever stopped you and said, hey, I need you to move aside here? Like, has that happened? Have you ever had any of those moments? And I ask this because, you know, one of my, when I was supervising, my coordinator came to me one day and he's like, hey, I need you to just step out of the way. Like, you do this, I'll do this. And I just remember it being very much a reality check of like, oh yeah, I've hired these great people. I've got these great people in my team. I need to give them that autonomy, let them leverage their strength. And for me to do that, I need to just take a seat, you know? How did you navigate that, if anything? Give us some examples.
Well, thankfully, I haven't had that actual instance, but I guess from the very beginning, I gave myself the permission, I guess, to be human in it, to be a bit vulnerable sometimes, and make sure that I was always putting them first. Like, they can't read my mind. And we did have instances in the beginning where one of my team and I were on completely different pages, and it came down to a simple misunderstanding around a term and what we were referring to the word client as, because we were in a subcontracting arrangement, and are we referring to the client as the person we're subcontracting to, or are we referring to the client as the clients of the person that we're subcontracting to? It was a total misunderstanding. But from that, it was sort of a wake-up call that was like, okay, well, if we just have simple conversations, then we can muddle our way through together instead of it sort of being a my side and their side. And so from then, I've always been really good, toot my own horn, about making sure, okay, like, does the process work for you guys? You know, from your perspective, how's it looking? Is there things that we need to change? What do you need from me? just a quick check-in, how are things going, all those sorts of just small things that make sure that I put them first. Because as I found, the business doesn't run without them. And so, yes, it was hard initially to get out of the way. But then once I made the decision, okay, we're doing this, and, sat on my hands figuratively at times when I wanted to jump in there, I'd made that decision. I brought people in. I had to trust them to do their role and give them the support that they need to do it.
100%. How was it sitting on your hands? And like, did you have any moments where, or was there any situations where things were potentially like going off track and you had to really trust your team to handle it without you? And like, were you ever in a point of like, I just need to let them ride this out. I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah. So, and it's something I still struggle with at times. Again, recruitment moves fast. So people apply and we need to be getting back to them straight away. And so where I struggle the most is that when stuff comes through, I'm like, cool, do it yesterday, please. But these are people, so I have a team of subcontractors. So these are people that have their own businesses and their own lives. And they've told me when they're available and when they're going to do something. And I'm still like, yeah, but do it yesterday. And they're like, look, that's not physically possible. No. And having to, figuratively sit on my hands to not get in and do it myself because I want it done now. It's really hard and it's still something I struggle with. But again, going back to, well, I brought them on to do the role. I know they can do it. They've told me when they're going to do it. And that's still a reasonable time. Sit down, woman.
Yeah. It's you got to kind of check yourself, hey, because when, especially like what I found when I'm in the driver's seat, I'm like, let's go, do the things, it's happening. And quite often, when we are founding businesses and starting companies, for us to actually be the visionary leaders and, think big sky dreams and like, this is where we want to go and do more of the strategic planning work, we actually can't be down in the weeds doing the work.
Right.
And I've spoke to a lot of people and, there is always that friction of how do you step back and take yourself out and just sit on your hands and not do anything, even though you're like, if I was in the seat, I would be doing it right now. It would be done, So we really need to like check ourselves and say, hold on a second. If I need to pull back so I can create this vision. Because if you spend all your time in the work doing the things, like you're still going to keep yourself there and ticking along with that. So yeah, I think that's a great thing that you've been able to be like, okay, cool, they're going to do it at this time, I'm just going to sit and chill. I know that I know for me personally that would be like in my stomach, like, oh, I just I've been done with this.
Relate so hard.
It's such a thing. Hey, and you just
absolutely
like, breathe through it. It's okay. No problem. And okay, so going into, you've got two businesses. When did you stand up the second one and how was that transition? Because, you've been sitting on your hands and you're like, okay, I trust these people, I've hired them to do the job. When did you say, okay, now this is the next adventure I'm going to go on, and how did you manage that and the sitting of the hands?
Well, funnily enough, the sitting of the hands was probably what led to it, because then at one point I was like, I'm not busy enough now, which is a bit of a joke because I work too much. But yeah,
can relate. Can understand.
I have 1 hour free a week. Let's fill it with 10 hours. Sure.
100%.
But we sort of fell into it. So I co-founded this business and it came from, I have an online business. I started my business to be present for my kids, which again is a joke because now I work more than I would have if I just got a real job. But I was always solo, always in my own four walls and never out. And, it was hard to get out and meet people. I live 40 minutes south of the city, which is not that far. right? But by the time you either, get public transport there or drive there or find parking and then walk to where you have to go, it's like another 2+ hours out of the day. So to attend an event, there goes my entire work day. And so it just wasn't reasonable, but there was nothing else around here. And so someone I met actually in an online group, we started it together and just, started with coffee catch-ups just to bring people together who were feeling isolated. And that's primarily women in business, people like us who work at home or work solo and are feeling isolated. And I've never planned events in my entire life. I don't know what I thought I was doing thinking I could plan events. But we, again, just kind of, right, at one point we just looked at each other and we were like, we're doing this, right? And we just jumped in and started it. And that was probably about 18 months ago. And we're still going now. And we do monthly coffee catch-ups, lunch and learn, co-working days. We did an International Women's Day event. We're doing a conference coming up. So, it's going pretty well, all from we're doing this, right? And just jumping in. And yeah, so now I work basically 2 full-time businesses in part-time life hours. Just, bit audacious in thinking that's physically possible.
It is a little bit audacious. And I would love to say you need an element of balance, but, stuff balance. There's no such thing, right? At least not in the initial part. When you do get everything kind of set up and, being a founder of businesses, it's like, okay, cool. When you start, you do the work, you're like, right, I'm building this thing, and you're down there, you're in the mud, you're doing everything. And then you get to a point where it's like, okay, now I can step back. And like, you've proved that in that first business and you're like, okay, I've got the right people in the thing. I'm going to step back. And then you go and do it again. It's like a rinse and repeat, because like I'm building an empire and I'm finding that when I'm like, all right, it's like full steam ahead here. And then it's like chill for a moment. Then I'm like, okay, cool, no worries. Like what else can I be doing? And, that was part of the inspiration with this podcast, is because I want to help share inspiration and learnings with people who have gone on this journey to help inspire other people, because, a lot of the time we get in our own way and we love to have a guide through our life to say, oh, actually this person has done this. They can help me. Like if they've done it and they've come from nothing or they've come from here, like I can do it. Sure. And it is just like being a bit bold and a bit audacious and being, stuff it. We're doing it. We're doing it. I know I've had business deals closed from that, and we're kind of just looking at each other, and it's that mutual understanding. It's like, okay, yeah, we can make something with this and play around with it and have a bit of fun. So yeah. And how do you manage, because you're a mum as well, so how do you manage that? And you've mentioned the workload and the balance, which doesn't exist. How do you juggle everything? Where do you feel is, what's your time like? How are your days looking?
Look, sometimes it is all, running smoothly and you have these like super smug thoughts of, yeah, I got this. I'm doing it. I'm the Insta highlights reel. And other times I'm wiping peanut butter off the kids as I get them out of the car at daycare because they've had to eat in the car. That was this morning. And, we've got mattresses on either side of the bed because the 2-year-old's decided he doesn't sleep in his own room. And then I have to get up and pull myself together like I don't have kids to get through the day. But I've chuckled a couple of times because you're so right. There is no such thing as balance. You have to drop somewhere else for somewhere else to be successful. You've only got so much in a day. You have to give and take. And so it's been a bit of a journey in that regard, and it's sort of come about because a couple of months ago, 6 weeks or so ago, we finally got married after being together for nearly 7 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And because I don't do things by halves, I did 2 weddings.
Perfect.
Sure. Not a crazy person at all.
Why
Uh,
two weddings?
I thought it would be fun. I don't know. I
Please
can't tell you.
elaborate. Were they big weddings? Like one was a big wedding, one was a small one. Was one like one family? Like explain to me.
Yeah.
Got so many
So,
questions.
so one weekend we did like a ceremony weekend. We went away for a weekend and we did a wine tour wedding. So it was like ceremony at one spot, lunch at another, drinks at another spot, and then all staying in the same accommodation. And that was with like 30 of our family and closest friends. And then 2 weeks later, we did the backyard reception with like 90 people. So yeah, spread across 2 different weekends and all with the same level of organization required to pull them both off while
You're an
planning.
events manager now, so you're
I
perfect for
know.
this.
Well, this is while I was planning an International Women's Day for 50 people as well, and as well as, my work being busy as well. And so it became a bit of a mantra. So every time I would look around the house and be like, okay, I've got to mop the floors. And my partner would be like, after the wedding, the wedding's still like 6 weeks or so. I'm like, you can't leave the floors that long with not being mopped. He's like, after the wedding. And it just everything became a mantra of after the wedding until I actually started to live it. Like, okay, the clothes can stay in just a basket on the side, whatever. No one's going to lose sleep over this. No one has to know this. And looking at things that we could drop and things that we could do to make our life easier. All the things I tell people about but never actually do myself. And so it was a little bit of like fake it till you make it kind of thing. Like, okay, fine. After the wedding, I'll do that organization thing that needed to be done at home until it got to a point where it's like, okay, no one's losing sleep over this. This is, in a month's time, this thing is not going to matter. And looking at the things that we could drop that really didn't matter, that really didn't impact our day, but it was just my control freak tendencies that said we had to do them before I could actually go, okay, where I can do work because I have more time with not having to reorganize a closet for no reason. And I'm happier at home because I'm not trying to live up to some unrealistic expectation of what a working mum is supposed to look like and how together their life is. So that simple mantra of after the wedding has now just become a bit of an ongoing joke. We are past the wedding, but we still sometimes go after the wedding as a bit of a joke to say, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah,
That was the
perfect.
permission.
I really like that. And you've said the permission thing a couple of times, and I really want to dive into that a bit more because, I was having a conversation yesterday with another lady who I've done an interview with, and one of the things that she said was she had to give herself permission to dive into it. And I'd love to hear how you firstly got to a point of realizing that you needed to give yourself that permission, and then how you moved through that, because I know, and Ash, I feel like you'd be very similar to me in the sense that, you hold yourself to a very high standard, your space, like, I'm very much like put everything back where it is, like keep all the ducks in a row. And yet sometimes like I look at, as I've scanned my desk, I've got business cards everywhere and I'm like, there's one in a row on my desk right now. How did you navigate that and be like, okay, I'm going to let this standard just slip for a bit because I'm working on something? Like, how did you navigate through that permission period? Because I can tell that wouldn't have been an easy thing for you.
No. And to be honest, when it comes to these things, it's, you say you're going to give yourself the permission, like, okay, I give myself permission to let this go. But actually doing it is another thing. And so I feel like for this, I had to go through this process like 5 to 10 times and basically just about drown and be miserable for a while before I went, okay, something really has to change here. Like I'm saying that I'm letting this go, but I'm not actually letting it get out of my head. I'm not like I'll be sitting there and I'll just start doing something at home because that's what I'm supposed to be doing, even though I told myself I wasn't going to. And I feel like that's similar in a lot of things with business as well, is that you give yourself permission but then you have to actually follow through on that. You have to be strong in yourself and, have a bit of integrity with yourself in following through on what you said you were going to do. And it's a journey. It's not something where you make the decision and, yep, done. Butterflies and rainbows kind of thing. It's make the decision and follow through, doubt yourself a little bit, maybe go to pick it back up again and have to force yourself to go, no, you made the decision to let it go. You actually have to follow through. And you do that with, whatever you make these decisions about, whether it's something about, not doing the washing so well anymore, or whether it's something in your business. You have to commit to it and think about why you made that decision and what the outcome is from that, or what the goal is from that. And a bit of ladyballs in doing it. Just a 3, 2, 1. Okay, I've got this.
Mm-hmm. I was waiting for the ladyballs.
Sorry. How many times am I going to say it?
No, this is energy. I love this. And that was so, for our listeners' context, Ash and I were having a little chuckle about what the rules were before we went on the podcast, before we went on air. And I said, there's no rules. Like, let's dive into it. And because it takes ladyballs to start businesses, especially being a mum. Personally, I'm not a mum myself, but I've had, I've babysat my friends' kids, and I remember I babysat for the very first time. My friends' 3 boys are lovely, lovely kids. And I just did not know what I got myself into. And I was like, people need to do this full time. Like, holy damn. So how, the ladyballs comment, there's so much fire behind that, and I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's something that I would imagine that you tie that your mindset with, to be like, okay, we got ladyballs, let's go. How does that slot in? Let's dive into it.
So I think a lot of people have a similar approach, or some sort of approach of theirs that is just a fake it till you make it for a minute. Like, if I just do this thing, then it will get easier. And you look at different ones and they just didn't align for me. They're a little bit too polished for me. It's not really who I am. And so mine is just not as classy as many out there, but it's literally just 3, 2, 1, ladyballs, go. And it's not about confidence. It's kind of the faking it till you make it. It's the 3 seconds of putting on your big girl pants and just doing the thing, like 3, 2, 1, go. And it's absolutely come about as a bit of a mantra. And you said there was no rules. So it started from a mantra of fuck it.
I like it.
When things were feeling a little bit hard or overwhelming or whatever it was when it came to business, and just going, fuck it, we're okay here. Like, we don't have to reach for the stars right now. We're okay right here in this messy middle. And it helped me sort of get to a period of contentment, because at the time I was really struggling with the Insta highlights reels that you see, and everyone having this perfect polished life. And, I'm up at 3 a.m. and that's when my day started with kids, but there was no point going back to bed after that. And, unwashed hair and quickly straighten it before you jump on a call so it doesn't look so chaotic. And wiping peanut butter off your face, even though you don't eat peanut butter. Like, just nothing looked pretty, and just going, fuck it, we're okay here. But then also changing that into going, fuck it, we can reach for more. And giving myself the fake confidence to do that. So it sort of came from going from just content on where we are to pushing to the next thing, when we were not looking so, or not feeling so polished, but just giving ourselves that 3 seconds of ladyballs to go, yeah, we got this. And whatever it is, for women in business, it can be 3, 2, 1, click send on this scary invoice, or 3, 2, 1, walk up to someone at an event and introduce yourself. 3, 2, 1, send the rate increase email. Whatever it is, there's things that relate to so many people just going, 3 seconds of ladyballs. That's all I need right now.
I like that. And it sometimes that's all it takes. My one of the things, and I had this moment yesterday. I don't like hesitation. And it's like those moments where you're going to do something, you're not going to, when you hesitate, you may as well just not do it. I'm just like, if you're diving in, like dive in, don't hesitate. Same if like, if you're in traffic and you're about to pull out in front of like, you can't hesitate. Same rules apply. So I love that, fuck it, just go.
Do it.
I always think back to what is the worst that can happen? Unless you're going to die, it really can't be that bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I say that from the point of, like I've endured some shit on my journey, and I've wrote a book that's coming out at some point this year with all of the ins and outs of it. But I often reflect on that part of my life, and if I got through that, I can get through anything. A rate increase, or just being like, hey, I want, reaching out and asking people to come onto a podcast. I found myself at an event with some people, some very, very impressive people. They will be on the podcast as well, and just chairman of these huge businesses, and they're founders of billion-dollar companies and things, and just sitting there, and I felt so much imposter syndrome, being like, cool, you want to come on this podcast adventure that I'm doing? And then I ended up out at dinner with them, and it was just nice that the same kind of mindset will apply. They're just like, yeah, just dive into it. Fuck it, lady balls.
Lady balls.
And I think it's such a powerful thing, because particularly as women, we still suffer that glass ceiling.
Yeah.
So, and like conversations like this, Ash, I'm sure, or I really, really hope they will resonate with our listeners, to just be like, I'm going to have some lady balls and just shoot for the stars. Like, fuck those glass ceilings off and just aim high and achieve it, because all it takes is, the amount of times that you need to be told no or shut down on something. Like, eventually, the more, like, as long as you keep getting back up and keep asking, you'll get a yes. Something will happen. A door will open. So
it's a numbers game.
Yeah, it is a numbers game. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with your kids and your businesses, right? So like, how is your partner throughout this period? Because does he work? Does he have his own businesses? What does he do? And how's he support you on this journey as well? Because I imagine that your home life could be a little bit chaotic.
Super chaotic, yes. It's a good thing and a bad thing. He is a shift worker. So he's home every night, but not until the kids are in bed. And so he works 7 days on, 7 days off. And so he's 7 days on, he's not here, basically. So I solo parent for a week straight and, still work and do all the things. But then on his week off, I get to step back from the life stuff, and he takes, primary role of that. And I get to just work. I mean, obviously I'm there with the kids and stuff, but I don't have to think about who needs to be where and when the grocery order needs to be made and picked up and all of that stuff. He carries those mental load things, and it was a journey to get to that point as well. At one point, I feel like I just, again, figuratively just sat down and said, I'm not doing this. You're off for a week, you can do it. And it took, again, we had that conversation, we made that decision, but then actually putting it into practice took quite a while. But now things are a lot smoother. And so my calendar is sort of week on, week off. So his week working, I have to say no to more things because I can't be in all the places at once. But on his week where he is home, I get to go to events that previously I've never really been able to go to, or have lunch with work friends, or go to a co-working session, or things that get me out of the house as well, and actually have full work days, not just 9:30 to 2 around school times. I get to have my full work days of like 8 till 4, 8 till 5 to actually move my business forward. So the week that he's working is just ticking along, basically doing the client work, and his week off, I get to actually move things forward. So it's actually kind of flowed into a good balance for my business in the end as well, which is good.
That's really nice. I'm glad to hear that, because often it's interesting to see what the relationship dynamic is, because you can feel like a bit of a crazy person when you're like, hey, I'm going to stop all consistent funding and I'm just going to do this little adventure by myself. And then it's like you go through pigs and troughs where it's like I've got heaps of money and then I've got no money, and like balancing that. Having a
Absolutely.
partner that's with you on that journey of like, I will support the wild ride, because you need that, you need someone who's prepared to go on that journey with you. Otherwise,
That's right.
you will face a bit of a barrier, I feel.
Yes.
One thing I did want to ask. Oh, sorry, Ashley. Go.
I was going to say, I'm lucky that he is supportive, because there's, you've had dodgy clients or whatever it is, and he'll just go, get rid of them. You don't need them. And I'm like, but we need money. So we'll work it out. It's fine. So to have that support is really good, because I feel like it's actually me that puts more pressure on myself to deliver that for us. And he's like, we'll be fine. We'll work it out. It's fine. Oh, okay. Easy.
Yeah. That's really nice. I love that. I love that for you. We love a good supportive male, a good supportive anyone, to be fair. But
green flags.
Huge green flag. Brownie points stick. Now, Ash, you've said that you do a lot of events with women, and I would love to know if you see any commonalities of mindset. I don't know if hurdles the right word, or things that maybe hurdles, like mindset hurdles that you see a lot of women, particularly in business, go through. And, how does your group kind of navigate that, and where does the boldness come in to like working through those hurdles?
We see it in different ways, but we see it regularly. And we have in our community anyone from, side hustler just starting it out to global product-based businesses that are amazing. People that have been in business, just starting out, people that have been in business 15, 20 years. So there's a massive range in terms of demographics in there. And one of the things that we see, regardless of where they're at age and stage-wise in life, is imposter syndrome. It's, can I do this solo? A lot of it is, I nearly didn't come today because I felt like I didn't have the time to leave the house. I felt like I had to work. I had to meet this deadline to make this income. And it's a lot of putting themselves last and having to really be bold and make that call to say, actually, I need this. I need to get out of the house. I need to connect with others. And every time they leave going, I'm so glad I came. Now I'm going to go home and do X, Y, Z. So from it, they, get clarity in what they actually needed to do without us even going, okay, let's brainstorm what it is. But just being around others and hearing other stories and backgrounds, it gives them the energy and the motivation to go back and kick their own goals in their own business, but just stepping out and doing that. But being bold in making that call to go, I deserve this. I am allowed to get out of the house. I am allowed to make time for myself in this space. And it's something we see at every single meetup, regardless of what event it is. It comes up at least once every single time. The other day, I think I heard it 3 or 4 times. I nearly didn't come because I felt like I had to work. And then going, I'm so glad I came.
It's amazing. And I really love that you've said that, because there would be, take us, for example, both you and I, we're at home right now. No doubt your diary is jam-packed, much like mine when we finish this call. And yes, like stepping aside, because part of entrepreneurial, being an entrepreneur, sorry, I can't speak today. Part of being an entrepreneur is knowing when to put the gas on and knowing when to also like pull it off. And, we still have human needs of connection and meeting up with people and getting out of the house. Because if you've been on the grind, I remember I had surgery on my foot and it left me kind of stuck in the house for like a good 8-month period, and I couldn't walk, I couldn't do much, and I just remember being so like just going a bit stir crazy, not being out. And then when I you'd get the guilt when you were going outside, and it was like, oh my God, I should be at home doing these things. But sometimes, and there's a lot of research in the neuroscience space that supports turning off and stepping away is so much more beneficial than staying in the same four walls and just grinding, because our brains need a break. So I love that you've started this movement with your second company doing these events, and I think that's beautiful. So what would you say to one of our some of our listeners, because no doubt I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people that are sitting at home listening to this, or maybe they've been in that grind mode at home. Like, what would you say to them to help promote them to get out the house and just do some stuff?
Well, I think it comes back to what we've spoken about before, in just giving yourself that permission and thinking about a month from now, whatever you're working on, is that going to matter more than your mental health? Is that pile of washing, is that fixing whatever document you're working on in Canva and moving stuff around, is that going to matter more than you getting this opportunity to connect with others that is good for your mental health in the moment, but can also lead to more business opportunities in the future as well? We get a lot of that as well, in people going, oh, I need you, let's work together, let's do this thing, just simply from connecting. But just giving yourself the permission to say, fuck it, I'm going, and actually go out and attend the event or connect with someone or whatever it is. But giving yourself that permission and following through on it, like we were talking about before.
Yeah, it's such a big thing. The permission, it's just allowing ourselves to do stuff. And I was just having a thought as I was saying that, because I look at things, and something I do is I always role reverse. I'm like, okay, if I had my best friend in front of me coming to me with these problems, or she was facing this, what would I say to her? Mind you, I think my best friend I've got bias, obviously, like she's the bee's knees. But how I would treat her opposed to how I actually treat myself is two very different things. And we actually need to learn to treat ourselves like we would our friend, and just say, hey, you've been doing a lot. It is okay if you have a little moment to do something fun, protect your mental health, because this is it's a lonely journey sometimes when you go into starting a business and there's so much uncertainty and all these different kinds of pressures that come on that you just don't realize until you're in the weeds of doing the stuff that you're like, I've just spent 6 hours doing something that's done nothing for the business. And it's just, and then you get, and it's like guilt, and it's like, oh my God, and then
guilt.
you just spiral. So
That's
going and like taking yourself out, seeing other people and being around like-minded individuals, because that's such a crucial piece of the puzzle as well, because and I interview a lot of people, and it's the same trends that come up. It's like that imposter syndrome, or it's like that guilt, I need to be doing more, and this pressure. And I love that you've said like the permission thing, because it's such an important aspect of being an entrepreneur and starting a business and just life in general, because how often do we actually give ourselves permission to have fun and relax and chill? So,
and I think one of the things to remember for women in business who work remotely is that, everyone needs human interaction. It's part of life. And working in an employment role, you get that interaction day in, day out. It's small things. You don't think of it as social at the time. Like, I know my partner will come home and he'll be like, yeah, let's just chill. I'm like, no, I need to see people. He's like, oh, do we need to? I'm like, you got that all day. Whether he realizes that or not, he, had smoko and he had lunch and he had work banter and all of that stuff. Whereas until I started doing these events more regularly, I was really like relying far too heavily on him and pushing him, we need to get out and do stuff on the weekend. We need to get out and do all this stuff, instead of actually then having space to relax, because I was needing that social interaction that I was missing in the workday that I'd previously always gotten. And so that's part of what helps me go, okay, if I can give myself permission to go to this event or, host this event and get out of the house, then that gives me also more space in my personal life as well. So it actually helps contribute to our balance in being able to do that as part of the workday, while also connecting with these other women that support me and, help improve my mental health by connecting with them. And for many others, as I said, actually build their business in different ways as well. So there's so many positives to it when you just give yourself that permission and give yourself the space to do it.
I love that. And I love what you said about, the opportunities that come up when you do go to these networking events as well, because a lot of the times things will come just from a conversation and just engaging, and you might meet the most incredible, fascinating people that help you on your journey. And, I've landed mentors and people for the podcast and business deals just from having a conversation, I was in a coffee shop yesterday, and I was waiting for a takeaway coffee, and a fellow was waiting there next to me, and we just got chatting. He owns a business, so he's going to come on the potty, and it's beautiful. Just if I was stuck in the house, that wouldn't have happened.
That's right.
Yeah, I love that. We've got to allow ourselves to not feel the guilt on the human connection part, because that's a big thing with, going into business and working for yourself, because when you're just at home and you're grinding, it's like, you're cool doing all these things, but you also need to nurture that aspect of being a human being and your family and rest and all of the rest.
Remembering why we started this journey in the first place. What are we working towards? And are we actually helping ourselves to get to that point, or are we getting in our own way?
100%. I like that, getting in your own way, because we do. And as you said earlier, we can be the bottleneck a lot of the time. So.
Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, I have one question that I ask all of my guests. What does Audacity mean to you, Ash?
Well, I hadn't really given this a lot of thought before this, but for me, Audacity is really just the lady balls to do the thing. That's all it comes down to. The 3 seconds of confidence and just do the thing regardless, and it, putting aside what others may think of you, whether you look like an idiot or, any of the guilt or hesitations or anything. Just 3 seconds to do the thing.
I love that. That's really cool. It's I love the 1, 2, 3, do it. I think that's beautiful, and I feel like will resonate with a lot of our listeners, because don't hesitate, dive in. Just lady balls are on, let's go.
Put your lady balls on and do it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, conscious of our time, do you have a favorite quote, book recommendation, or a thought or comment that you would like to leave with our listeners?
Again, probably not something I really thought of, but maybe just in terms of a thought to leave with people, and probably going back to what audacious means to me, but putting aside the guilt, which I know is easier said than done, but putting aside the guilt and putting yourself first and remembering why you started this business, and making sure that you are leading your business and not letting life and your business lead you.
I love that. That's beautiful. I feel like we're going to have to tie it up with that, because that's a lovely way to end it, Ash. No, beautifully said. And, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on the podcast. This has been a really fun episode, and I've loved our conversation. I know our listeners are going to take a lot from this, and I'm excited to see where all of your ventures go in the future.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Of course. All right. Until next time.